Hello everyone, Katie Wheeler, your remote instruction coordinator here. Today talking about how I set up my gradebook. We need to ensure that we are setting up our gradebooks in a way that students can easily see how they're doing in a class. This means that we have to make sure we select certain options in the setup wizard so that the final grade is released to students, and we're not adding on any additional layers. We just have a simple gradebook that a student can look at and see how they're doing. First, I'm going to talk about the setup wizard and some options that we have there, then show you the student view from the Arnie the Aardvark perspective. Navigate to a D2L shelf and select Grades. Underneath Grades, you'll see this sub-menu here with Enter Grades, Manage Grades, Schemes, and Setup Wizard. The first thing you want to do is select the Setup Wizard. The Setup Wizard will take you through 7 steps to ensure that you set up a gradebook that is meaningful to you and clear to students. When you get to this landing page, scroll down to the Start button and click on it. Next, you want to choose a grading system that works for your class. There is the weighted option, the points, and formula. I'm going to talk about the points in this training video, but if you need help with the weighted or the formula, send me an email at remote.instruction@ppcc.edu and I can connect you with someone who can help with those specific options. Once we've selected our grading scheme, we click on the blue Continue button, which takes us to how we want the final grade released. Do we want the calculated final grade or the ability to adjust before that final grade is released? I personally go with the calculated final grade. It just makes my life easier. Once you have selected your option, you go to Continue. In step 3, we have some vital options that help to ensure students see the correct grade. Never select Treat Ungraded Items as 0 until the last week of the semester. If we select this, it puts zeros in the entire gradebook and shows that someone is failing all the way through to the end of the semester. I highly recommend avoid the second option. Use the Drop Ungraded Items. That means that final grade calculation is based on everything as of that date, not the entire class. That means it's being graded out of 300 points, not 8,000 points. The next thing that you want to make sure you keep a check mark next to is automatically keep final grade updated. Makes your life easier and students will be able to see exactly where they are at. Once you have these options selected, press the blue Continue button, which takes you to step 4. You get to decide if you want students to see a percentage or a letter grade. With the percentage, you can also assign the grade color scheme. Individuals can see how they're doing that way. With the letter grades, it will show the A, B, C, D, or F. I personally oftentimes go with the letter grades because it's just a quick way for students to see where they are, but a percentage works really well. Just make sure that whatever you select here, it matches your syllabus. Once you've made your decision, select the blue Continue button, where you go to the number of decimal places to display. Do you want just a 98 or do you want a 98.89%? It depends on what you prefer. Oftentimes I'll go with a 0 here, but you could put anything from 0 to 5 decimal points. I recommend 0 or 2. That would be the max. Next, in step 6, it goes over some more options that you have, displaying the points grades, the grade scheme symbol, the A, B, C, D, F. You can select grade scheme color. Because I have the letter grade selected, this will actually not appear. It does bring up the decimal display again. You can change it to 0 or 0 to 5, but I recommend 0 to 2. With the number of characters to display for text items, this will just show what the grade item is called. And finally, display final grade calculations to users. Please do this. We want to make sure it's up to date and individuals can see it. If you don't click on this, you need to enable it for each and every single student. But if you just click the display final grade calculation to users, as soon as you enter that grade, it appears on the student side. After you've made your decisions in step 6, step 7 will review these for you so you can look over this and make sure you have everything set up the way you want it to be, and then we click on finish. This brings us to some more options for actually setting up our gradebook itself. The categories work really well in a gradebook because you can sort items into papers, exams, participation points. You could also choose to just put the grade items in on their own. Let's get started with a grade category, and we're going to go with that papers idea. We're going to do save and new, and I'm going to show you one more. Let's say we add some exams and save and close. Now I have two categories that I can work with. If I do new item, that means I'm putting an item into one of the categories. You have a lot of options for the item type. As you can see here, the numeric, select box, pass-fail, formula, calculated, or text. Makes life so much easier. D2L is just a wonderful system for grading. I often go with the numeric. I use point-based systems. Let's say this is paper 1. Under categories, I'm going to select papers. I could add a description here. Usually I don't do this in the gradebook because I connect things to my assignments tab. Under grading, we've got the maximum points. Let's say it's 100 points for this one paper. I have options to make it exceed the number of points that are available in the class. I wouldn't do this unless I'm doing extra credit. You can make it a bonus grade, which goes above the amount of points in the class. If this was an extra credit or bonus item, I would not put it in a category because it won't count in the final grade. You can also have an exclude from final grade calculation in case you have a test assignment or want students to see how they're doing in a process. Under here, I usually let this sit with the letter grade option. You can change it to percentage if needed. You can also add a rubric directly to this grade item so that as you pull it up to enter grades, you have the rubric available. At this point, I'm just going to save and close because I have my options set up. Here is my paper 1. And the great thing about this landing page under Manage Grades is you can see the overall max points. If you're putting together your gradebook before the semester begins, which makes life so much easier, you can double check that you have the correct amount of points this way. Let's go back to Enter Grades. And let's just take a quick look at what this will look like for Arnie. You can see I've got my calculated grade column, the paper 1. It goes to a subtotal for this category and the calculated grade again. I also have this choice of the adjusted grade over here. In paper 1, let's say Arnie did a really good job, got a 95. Once I enter that, I select Save. Yes, I'm going to save these changes. Now we've got this 95 out of 100%, or 100 points, and you can see the little eyeball to the right of it. This means Arnie can also see how they are doing. So the 95 out of 100, I've got my grade scheme there. You can also calculate it this way. Let's say you did need to adjust it. Arnie did some extra credit, actually got a 98. You can adjust it that way, and that's what Arnie will see. You can also add feedback on the overall grade. Sometimes I'll say in week 3, you're at an A, good work. And that's something that students can see when they get into that grade book. Let's save this and transition away from the instructor view to the student view. To view your D2L shelf from the student perspective, select Class List. There is an arrow to the right of Arnie, and you select Impersonate. It will ask you, do you want to suspend your current session? You say yes. I'll now get to the landing page here from the Arnie view. I'm going to navigate to grades. And here you can see where my options come together. I've got the 95 out of 100 points. Because I selected the calculated final grade, Arnie's just seeing that 95. If I did adjusted, if that's the way that you go, then it would be that adjusted grade of 98. Arnie can clearly see that they have an A in this course and the individual feedback there. Once you have your graded items entered in here, students can scroll down and see each and every single one. As you can tell, this is very different from the instructor view. As you're setting up your gradebook in advance, take a look at this, make sure it appears the way you want it to appear. That is my overview of how to set up your gradebook in D2L in a way that is clear to students and options that make sure students see exactly what you want them to see. If you have questions or need additional help, you can always reach me, Katie Wheeler, at remote.instruction@ppcc.edu.